Good, man. Hey, Preston, my name's Jaron, not Justin. Justin's right here in front. But that's all right, man. Hey, it's so good to be here. I'm so glad to see y'all. Worship was incredible. This is all amazing. So, first off, I just have a hilarious story. Well, I think it's funny. It's probably not that funny to y'all. But it happened like 2 hours ago. So I'm going to start with this. So we've been setting up all day. A lot of y'all knew I was in the schools today. I came and said, what's up? I invited a lot of y'all out here. Y'all guys are awesome. So we're out here setting up, sweating like crazy, setting all this up, getting ready for you. Go back to the house and shower. Get in the shower, I get out, I'm getting dressed. I open a cabinet, and I'm like, man, I need some lotion. This is awesome. Skin's going to be smooth, going to smell good, it's going to be great. Pull out the bottle of lotion, fill up the whole palm. Rub my hands together, start rubbing it on my arms. I'm like, oh my goodness, this stinks. So I go in, I'm like, Preston, does lotion have an expiration date? Because this smells. I'm like, lotion smells good. This doesn't smell good. So I'm like, I have no idea what this is. It's caked on my arm, like it's not rubbing in. It's caked on my arm. Like, what is this? So I'm like, I gotta rinse this off. It smells, the house stinks, this is awful. So I'm like half dressed, I go, like I'm literally standing on the shower ledge, washing this off, trying not to get my clothes wet. Preston walks in, pulls the bottle out and says, bro, did you use this? I was like, yeah, it's lotion. He goes, it's Nair. I said, what? For y'all who don't know what Nair is a lotion hair removal. I rubbed this all over my arms and stunk the entire house up. It took some hair off. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. No telling how long that bottle had been under there. I didn't ask questions. I just tried to get it off. I like re-washed my body. I still stink. So, anyways, but that literally happened like, I don't know, 3 hours ago. So, anyways, how y'all doing? Everybody good tonight? We're having a good time? Good. Hold on. Is that as loud as y'all can be? Y'all doing all right tonight? Man, that's what I'm talking about. God is good. So I got a couple questions for y'all. How many of y'all were raised in a church home? Raise your hand. Raised in a church home. Good. How many of y'all were invited here or brought here by a friend? Raise your hand if you were brought here by a friend or you had a friend that would not shut up until you came. Hey, good. Hey, if your friend is with you, real quick, I want you to turn to them and say, thank you. Okay, now hey, real quick, hey, turn to another one and say, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. All right, y'all come back to me. Check me out. Here we go. So both happened with me. I was raised in a church home. I was invited by friends all the time. My grandfather was an elder. My grandfather was a preacher. My mother ran the children's care at the church. So let me tell you, if there was an opportunity for the doors to be open, I was in it. I was in the church. So I was baptized when I was young. I thought I knew Jesus. I had it all figured out. I didn't. I got to high school. I left my mom's house. My parents are divorced. How many divorced families we got in here? Amen. I'm with y'all. Hey, I'm with you. But let me tell you, God's with us too. So look, I come from a divorced family. I left my mom Christmas of 8th grade. Hardest decision I've ever left. Not only did I leave my mom, I left my 2 little brothers. Hardest thing I've ever done. I moved to my dad's and I get acquainted with a couple friends. I was an athlete, they were athletes, it was pretty cool. I get to high school and my best friend is Blake Woodruff. Blake is off in Tennessee doing great things, playing D1 soccer, incredible kid. So Blake is on varsity as a freshman, and I'm on the freshman A team. We went to a big 5A high school in Austin, Texas, stand up. So, we're out there, nope, sit back down. So we're best friends. Blake's a big-time soccer player. He's a freshman on varsity. I'm a little freshman on the freshman team. And Blake and I became best friends. Then my other best friend is Jake Bengelsdorf. Bengelsdorf, awesome name, right? So look, Jake was on fire for God. Jake loved God. Jake was all about God. Jake was our FCA president. Jake drug my butt to everything. And it killed me. He was like, Jay, we're going, let's go. And I'm like, I'm not going to that. Sitting right where you were. So, anyway, so we're going about it. Sophomore year rolls around. I'm a sophomore on varsity. I was the only sophomore on varsity. I started half the year and I played every game. I was producing, everything was good. I was hanging out with 17, 18-year-old men. A couple of my teammates had children. Hey, I'm not playing. I was with some grown men and I was like 14 years old. So, you know, we're doing team dinners, we're traveling, doing tournaments, everything's awesome. I'm being pulled by the ways of the world, you know, temptation, girls, parties, anything. You name it, I was at it. I was with 18-year-old men. Stay away. So anyway, come basketball season rolls around, and I get home. It's Wednesday night. Get home, and I get a phone call from Blake. Blake's like, "Hey, bro, I'm coming to pick you up. I'll be there in 5 minutes." I'm like, "Skirk! I just got home. I'm not coming." He's like, "No, really, we're going to church tonight." I said, "Bro, we had a big game last night. I went off for like 50 points. Just kidding. Didn't." And so he's like, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." So he comes. Literally, I'm like, "Bro, I'm not going." Hang up the phone. Literally 5 minutes later, I hear, like, who is at the door? So I walk downstairs. I open the door. Blake is standing in my driveway with his car door wide open, and the car is running. He's like, "Let's go. We're going to church. We're late." I'm like, "Fool, I said I'm not going." "No, we're going." So I get in the car. We go to church. We go worship. Worship is awesome. I remember, hey, if this is where the preacher was standing, I'm over here where these guys are at, not paying attention. Y'all don't look. Don't look. Shh. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Shh. Okay? So we worship. I'm on this side. I'm on the aisle seat. Blake is right next to me. We worship, and it was incredible. Worship was great. I sit down, and I do what a lot of y'all have already done. Pulled out my cell phone. I'm like, I ain't trying to hear this dude. So this dude gets up, and he does a trust fall. Y'all know what a trust fall is. Hey, stand up and fall into my arms and let me catch you. So he calls the student up. "Hey, come here." Blindfolds the student. Says, "I'm going to count down from 10 to 0. When I say 0, fall." I'm like, this is going to be kind of cool. So I'm kind of looking. So this man does it, and he steps back and looks at everybody and goes like this. This dude puts a straitjacket on. A real-life straitjacket like this. Okay? Puts the straitjacket on, and he tells her, 10, 9, 8. He busts out of the straitjacket. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't drop her. He gets to 0, and he still has the straitjacket on. He barely gets it out and throws it. He literally catches this girl like this. Okay? Caught it, I was like, oh man, he's good. I wonder if that was planned or if he got lucky. Anyway, so he caught her, so he had my attention. I'm like, all right, so I go back to playing on my phone, and he begins to preach. A lot of y'all may know who the preacher is. His name is Casey Benson. Y'all know Casey Benson? Yeah! Yep, Casey Benson is now a dear friend of mine. So Casey gets up and he preaches. He gets to the end, and I'm like, man, this guy, you know, I'm kind of feeling him. He's talking about something. So I begin to listen. He begins to talk about this everlasting hope that I didn't have. He began to talk about this everlasting covenant that was promised to me by somebody that I didn't know. See, I thought I knew God. I thought I knew Jesus. I thought I had it. Truth be told, I was 18 inches away from heaven. Listen to me. I was 18 inches away from heaven. I knew it all up here. I was raised in the church. I knew all the Bible verses. I was baptized. I went to youth camp. I sang every song. But I didn't know Jesus right here. See, Scripture tells us that the only way to heaven is through the Son. There comes a time where you'll go meet Jesus face to face and say, but I knew all about you. I prophesied your name. I told everybody about you. He's going to look you in the eye, and Jesus says, he will look you in the eye, say, I don't know you, get away from me. Think about that. He says, I don't know you, get away from me. So I hear this word. I'm like, man, I don't know Jesus. I know about Jesus. I don't know him. So he goes, gives an invitation. I'm like, man, I don't know this. So I'm like, I need that. I'm being pulled. I'm empty. I'm trying to fill this cross-shaped hole in my heart with girls, with basketball, with shoes, with money, with dollar signs, with everything but a cross. I'm coming up empty. I pray this prayer. I receive Christ. He says, if you just prayed that prayer, I need you to stand up. Up to this point, I was ashamed of my faith. It's because I didn't know Jesus. I wasn't proud of it. I stood up. Blake is sitting right here. Remember, I'm on the back left side. Blake is sitting right next to me. I stand up. I said, I just received Christ. I did it. I'm forever in heaven. I just received Christ. Blake looks at me like this. I remember looking down at Blake like, bro, we're going to heaven together. This is going to be awesome. So I go, he calls, he says, if you just prayed that prayer, I need you to walk down to the front right now. I'm like, man, I did that. Hey, I'm the first, ooh, I didn't do it. Hey, I'm the first one down. Kind of an inside joke. Casey's standing up on the stage. I walk up and I'm looking him eye to eye. I'm like, dude, I just prayed that prayer. This is awesome. Casey and I began to speak after. We talked a little bit. Kicked it off. He was a basketball coach. I'm a basketball player. How many basketball players we got in here? Woo! Y'all ready for season? Hey, 20 days till the NBA. Okay, so we kicked it off, became great friends. Casey Benson and I are still great friends today. So, let's go ahead and jump in that. That's my quick little testimony, man. Just wanted to let y'all know who I am, how I came to Christ. These guys gave their testimony. I want to share mine with y'all. Jeremiah 29, 11 through 13 says, for I know the plans I have for you. They are plans for good and not for disaster. To give you a future and a hope. In those days when you pray, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. See, God has a plan for us. It's a great plan. It's a plan that we don't even know. See, I was in high school. I was about y'all's age. I began to get recruited. I played AAU basketball. I traveled the country. I was in a different city, different state every weekend. I've been to Vegas. I've been to LA. I've been to Chicago. I've been to New York. I've been to Cali. I said Cali already. You name it, I've been there playing basketball in front of every major college coach in the country. Thought I was cool. But I was still missing somebody until I received Christ. So as I'm getting recruited, Blake is getting recruited also. Remember, I told you he's a big-time soccer player. Blake is sitting here praying, God, show me where you want me to go. Show me where I need to be to glorify you. I'm over here praying, Lord, give me options. Let me have options. Let me choose where I want to go. Let me tell you, God did just that for me. He gave me options. I had about 6 or 7 D1 offers, 1 Division II offer, and a bunch of junior college offers. I was like, man, I want to be the man. I don't want a red shirt. I don't want to play behind somebody. I want to be the man. So I choose the Division II offer. I said, I'm going to go here. I'm going to be the superstar. I get there, and it is terrible. It's nothing I thought it was going to be. I spent a semester and went home. I have no idea what happened. Spent a semester and went home. So I come home. I'm like, man, Lord, help me. Help me. Put me where you want me to be. Help me. So I begin to get recruited again. I spent a semester at home. I worked 3 jobs. I'm taking college classes. And I'm trying to stay in shape for basketball. So I continue. I go to a junior college, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go. I had 2 Division Is call me back. They said, hey, go JUCO for a year. We'll sign you after that. You come play here. So I'm like, awesome. So I go to this junior college. I'm working out. I'm thinking I'm going to sign papers. I'm like, man, I'm going to sign papers. We're going to be this thing. We finna hit this D1 route. We're going to be on television. I get there. I kill. I murder these JUCO kids. I'm like, man, I'm about to sign. Here we go. I'm signing another scholarship. I don't sign. I meet a coach who was hired a week before he got there. He said, bro, I don't know anything about you, but I like you. If you need a place to go, let me know. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know who you are. I'm like, who are you? He said, Lubbock Christian University. I was like, oh, yo, dude, that's crazy. My whole family's from Lubbock. My dad played baseball at Lubbock Christian. My grandfather, 50 years prior, played basketball at Lubbock Christian. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to you. I'm going JUCO. I'm going D1. So I get a call a week later from the junior college. They say, hey, man, I know we offered you, but we're taking our offer back. We don't have an offer for you. We're going to sign these 2 D1 transfers. They're transferring in from a Division I. All right, man, cool. So I call Lubbock Christian. End up signing, going to Lubbock Christian, and spend 2 years there. Have a great 2 years of college basketball. It was my first 2 years of college. Loved it. I grew with the Lord. It was incredible. The professors were awesome. The coaches were awesome. Everything was what I thought it could be. I was like, man, my whole family's from here. Like, it's awesome that I'm here. Made some great friends. So as the season goes on, last year, this is last basketball season, the season goes on, I began to get treated terribly by this coach. Great Christian man, taught me a lot of things that I still carry with me today. So I was lied to, I was played, and I was like, man, what is this about? This isn't the Lubbock Christian I thought. So as this is going on, we find out that LCUs jump into NCAA Division II. It's an NAIA school. Which means my next 2 years, I can't even play in a postseason. I can't compete for a championship. How many of y'all want to win a championship? Hey, I do too. I do too. So when I'm told I can't do it, I was hurt. I was like, man, I might transfer. So then as all this is going on, I'm like, man, like, I have no idea what's going on. So I was academic all conference. I was on the dean's list. I had a personal relationship with the president, who was like the superintendent, runs this whole school. And I was our sixth man. I was playing a lot of minutes. I was producing. Everything was great. Season ends. Coach calls us in for our exit interviews. I had a meeting that lasted 3 minutes. Coach goes, hey, we've talked a couple times this year. Want to let you know we're not going to bring you back next year. I said, man, all right. I was on a full scholarship. They were paying everything. Got taken from me like that. I said, man, what is that all about? But, you know, like this scripture says, he has a plan for us. The plan is for good, not for disaster. So I was joyful. I had the Lord in my heart, and I was joyful. I said, that's all right. You know, God has a plan for me. So I'm praying. I'm like, God, you know, show me this plan. I know it's going to be great. Show me this plan. He says, I'm like, you know, maybe basketball is done. Maybe it's time for me to hang basketball up and do something else. I get a phone call from some people in New Zealand, said, hey, man, we have an opportunity for you to come play basketball in New Zealand this summer. I was like, man, that's awesome. I get a call from a school in Oklahoma that says, hey, we heard you got released. We want to sign you. I got a full scholarship for you right now. I'm like, man, maybe basketball's not done. So I go to New Zealand. I play in New Zealand all summer. It was awesome. It was beautiful. Not only did we get to play basketball, but we got to share the love of God to a whole nother country who doesn't know God. It was incredible. So I come back. Now I'm in school in a small Catholic school. Let me tell you, there is more people over there in Section 2. Y'all look at Section 2, seriously. There's more people in Section 2 than in the school I go to. I go to a school with 325 people. No, I'm serious, 325 people. It's in Oklahoma, Shawnee, Oklahoma. It's St. Gregory's University. I get there, I'm like, man, this is super small. I graduated high school with almost 1,000 people. So as I'm going on, my first week there was the loneliest week of my life. Loneliest week of my life. I said, man, God, why am I here? I mean, I'm here to play basketball, but there's a bigger purpose. Why am I here? He says, I have a plan for you. It's for good, not for disaster. So, sum that all up. I'm doing some quiet time. I'm reading my Bible. It takes me to 2 Corinthians 5. It says, you are ambassadors of Christ. You have been reconciled with a message to share to the world. Like, all right. Takes me to Mark chapter 4. I had read it a couple weeks prior, read it again. It says, Jesus is telling a parable of planting seeds, a farmer planting seeds. And talks about the 4 things you've done. Like, well, God, you win again. First, I chose the wrong school. Then I got kicked out of school. Now I'm at this itty-bitty school. But your plan is for the good. You have made it clear that I'm on this campus of 325 students to plant seeds and to shine your light to this entire campus. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Shawnee, Oklahoma, playing basketball and trying to share God's love to the world. So, God's plan is for good, not for disaster. He has a plan for you. If y'all want to write these down, we're about to jump into the Word. I'm going to tell y'all a couple stories. If you want to write these down and look them up later for yourself, that'd be awesome. If not, just listen to me because I promise I'm not lying. 2 Samuel chapter 11. Story of King David. King David was the king of Israel. Israel was God's chosen people. God promised all these things to Israel, and David was the king of them. So it's the springtime, everybody's off at battle, and at this time, the king goes and fights with his people. So y'all check me out. David doesn't go. David stays at home. David stays at home. He gets up in the morning, he walks out on the roof of his palace like, good morning, Israel. He looks across the way and sees a beautiful woman taking a bath. This woman is butt naked taking a bath on the roof. Guys, can y'all imagine that? Y'all walk in the backyard and there's just someone taking a bath back there, like, not taking a bath. Scrub a dub-dub in the tub. So he gets there, he's like, man, she's beautiful. What's up? What's your name? Hey, shawty, come here real quick. So, David does what a lot of us would do. Oh, but you better not do it. He sends a messenger and says, hey, go get that woman and bring her to me. I want to talk to her. She's beautiful. She's butt naked. I want to talk to her. So he sends a messenger. They go get her. Bathsheba is her name. Imagine that. She's taking a bath. Her name is Bathsheba. What an ugly name. So Bathsheba now comes over to the palace and is hanging out with David in the palace. He's like, hey, I'm the king of David. What's your name? She's like, I'm Bathsheba. So check me out. While David is supposed to be fighting battle with his people, he now has an affair on his wife and sleeps with Bathsheba. Yeah, oh. So check it out. This is what makes it worse. Bathsheba's husband is at war for Israel. He is one of David's soldiers. His name's Viera. So Bathsheba leaves. David gets a message a few weeks later. Bathsheba sends a message and says, hey, homie, I'm pregnant. David says, oh, it wasn't mine. So look, check me out. David immediately sends for Viera to come home from battle. Sends for Bathsheba's husband, hey, you can't go home. You got to come straight to me. So Viera is now in the palace with David. David's like, hey, I need you to go home, hang out with your wife, do what y'all got to do, come back and see me. Viera goes and leaves and sleeps on the palace steps. He doesn't go home. Oh, turn that off. Just kidding. So look, hey, so Viera sleeps on the palace steps. David sees this, calls him the next day, he says, homie, I told you to go home. He says, how do you expect me to go home, wine and dine and sleep with my wife when my people are fighting a battle and sleeping in tents? David's like, you're right. He's like, come over for dinner tonight. Stay with me, hang out, we're going to eat dinner. It's going to be awesome. So now David has him over. They get him drunk. So now David has not had an affair. Now he's getting this dude drunk. He says, hey, now go home and do your thing with your wife. Again, Viera sleeps on the palace steps. He sees him again and says, hey, I told you to go do that. He said, how do you expect me to do that? My people are fighting. You want me to go have sex with my wife? David's like, all right, if you're not going to do it, I'll handle this myself. Sends him back to war. Sends a messenger, says, hey, put that dude Viera on the front lines of battle against the strongest enemy. So he does it. Message comes back to David a couple weeks later, says, hey, Viera's been killed. So now not only has he skipped war, he had an affair, he tried to get Viera to cover it up, but now he has murdered this man. He set up the death of this woman's husband because of his mistakes. When Bathsheba gets over the morning, she comes home. She comes back to the palace, ends up marrying David and the rest of his wives, because at that time it was okay. So he marries, whatever, goes ahead and has the babies coming. So the prophet Nathan, the Lord sends this man Nathan down and says, hey, I need you to go tell David that child's probably not going to make it. He's like, all right. So he goes and tells David, hey, David, I want to let you know that God's probably not going to save that child. He's like, why? He says he's just probably not going to save it. It's not going to happen. So David strips himself of his royal garments, puts the sloppiest clothes he has on. He's pretty much bare naked. Lays on the dirt, lays on the sloppiest place in the palace, just lays there, and begins to fast, and begins to pray to God. Says, God, I know I've messed up. Do something to me. Don't spare that child's life. The child didn't do anything. I did it. God, I know this is your chosen people, but save that child. Let me take the punishment. A couple days go by, David's still laying there. And the messengers and the people in the palace are like, the child didn't make it. How are we going to tell David? Look at him. He's over here laying on the ground dying. Like he's heartbroken. He's torn. He's crying. How are we going to tell him that the child didn't make it? David looks up, sees them talking. They walk over, and David said, it didn't make it, did it? They said, no, sorry, man. He said, thank you. David gets up, takes a bath, washes himself up, puts his royal garments back on, and puts like beautiful smelling lotion on his body. He goes straight to the temple, and begins to worship and praise God. He repents from everything. He repents not just his sins for right then, not just for having the affair, not just for murdering, not for that. He repents his heart. Because Scripture tells us, because one man disobeyed God, many men were made sinful. But because one man obeyed God, many men were made right through God's eyes. Because David's heart was sold out to God. Because David repented his core. Because he knew he was bad. He said, Lord, I'm sorry. Fix it. Help me. I confess my sins to you. God said, you know what, David? I forgive you. Thank you for turning your heart back over to me. Now go back and work and lead my chosen people. It's not what David did. God forgave that. It's not what David did. It's what God did for David. So that's David. David has an affair. David has sex out of his marriage. He murders somebody. And God says, hey, it's okay. Your heart is on me. It's okay. So next, hey, Jonah and the whale. How many of y'all know Jonah and the whale? Raise your hand. Woo! Jonah. All right. You're like, yep, I don't really know it. So Jonah, my man Jonah. Y'all want to check this out? It's Jonah chapters 1 through 4. It's a pretty quick book. There's only 4 chapters. Hey, how awesome would it be if the books we had to read in school were only 4 chapters? Yeah, woo! All right, so y'all check me out. Jonah, real quick. Jonah, we're going to go through this quick. Jonah's kind of taking a nap, leaning under a tree, hanging out. Where y'all going? Jonah's hanging out. God calls to Jonah and says, hey, homie, I need you to go to the city of Nineveh and say your judgment day is coming. You're being pretty wicked. Jonah's like, right, I'm not going over there. I'm going this way. Jonah does a 180 and walks away from God. Turns his back to God, walks away from God. He buys a ticket to hop on board to a boat, and he's going to sail the opposite way of Nineveh. He's on the boat, they're leaving. Huge crazy storm comes on. Huge crazy storm, it's crazy. Jonah goes down on the bottom part of the boat and begins to take a nap. He's taking a nap in a storm. The winds are harsh, the water is vicious, and he's like, hey, I'm going to catch me some Z's. I got this long little boat ride. I'm running away from God. It doesn't matter. So the crew, they're talking to their gods, their fake gods, their false gods. And like, Lord of such and such, I need you to fix this. Or the God of here and here, I need you to do this. Nothing's working. The captain goes down to the bottom of the ship and says, Jonah, how can you sleep in this storm? I need your help. Pray to your God. Talk to your God. Whoever your God is, who is it? He says, I worship the Lord of the heavens and the earth, the land and the sea. They say, well, talk to him. If he's in charge of the sea, talk to him and have him fix this freaking storm. He's like, all right. He said, he's not going to fix it unless I do what I got to do. Like, well, what is that? He says, y'all have to throw me overboard. They're like, dude, you're going to die. This storm is crazy. You're going to die. We're not having your blood on our hands. Like, you have to do it. Like, no, we're not doing it. They go to rowing. They're rowing in a hurricane, thinking it's going to work. It doesn't work. They begin to go on, and they're like, yo, this isn't working. So they begin to throw their goods overboard. Hey, salvage the goods. We don't need that. Get rid of that. Let's make this boat light, or we're going down. He says, storm doesn't happen. Jonah says, guys, that's not going to do it. You really got to throw me overboard. Like, well, crap, dude. If throwing this over and rowing this isn't going to help it, I'm going to live, so I'm throwing you over. He's like, all right. So they pick Jonah up, throw him over. Cannonball. As soon as Jonah hits the water, check me out, this is crazy. As soon as Jonah hits the water, the storm stops. Immediately, just calm seas. Wind stops, waves are stopped, everything's done. Immediately, the crew stopped worshiping their false gods and promised to worship the lords of the heavens and the earth and the land of the sea. Immediately, they gave a sacrifice and said, I promise I'm going to worship this God. If he can do that, I know he can do anything. I want that. I need that in my life. They did it. So not only did the water stop, the storm stopped, Jonah didn't get thrown over. These guys didn't give their lives to God, to follow God. My man Jonah got swallowed up by a big fish. Hits the water, gets swallowed up. Jonah's like, man, this ain't good. I'm in the belly of a fish. He begins to talk to God. Similar to David, he's like, God, I know I ran from you. I did what I wasn't supposed to do. God, I know I'm a sinner at the core, but I'm brought right back here to you in your temple. I need you, God. Help me. Lord, be with me. Guide me. Help me out of this. I'll do your works. Let me do your works. God lets the fish opens his mouth. Jonah gets out. He swims to land. He went Michael Phelps in the middle of the ocean. Got back to the land. So he's in the land. He's hiding out. God says, all right, homie. I need you to go to the city of Nineveh. I need you to tell them their judgment day is coming because of their wicked ways. Jonah's like, all right. Let me tell you, Nineveh was so big, it took 3 days to walk across it. 3 days. Jonah walks, like crosses over, like if this is the city lines, he's like, hey, your judgment day's coming. Y'all been acting crazy. God's not having it. Figure it out. He just begins preaching to these people. So the guy who ran Nineveh, the king of Nineveh, he issued like what would be today like a warrant, just issued out a public service announcement, said, hey, you have to fast. Stop eating, stop drinking, give everything you have to God. Your animals can't eat, your children can't eat, you can't eat. Give everything to God. Turn your heart to God. A city of 120,000 people stopped everything they were doing and gave their heart to God. God said, thank you, Jonah. Now because of you, this city is saved. A city of 120,000 people are going to follow me, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, the land and the sea. So Jonah goes back and he's like, man, God's like, thank you. So not only did Jonah run from God, but he got thrown over a boat, and 12 men, about 12 men on the crew, they began to follow God, promised to follow God. And now a city of 120,000 people began to follow God as well. Alright, next one. Here we go. I want y'all to flip over to Judges chapter 6, 7, and 8. So again, back to Jonah. It wasn't what Jonah did, but what God did for Jonah. But what God was doing around with everybody around him. Okay? Gideon. This is the story of Gideon. So at this time, oh, there's a speaker. So at this time, the Israelites were being ran by the Mennonites. So was being ran by the Israelites. The Mennonites were being ran by the Israelites. Or the Israelites were being ran by the Mennonites. God uses Gideon. Gideon is terrified for his life. He says, I need you to go take over these people. I need you to get the city back for me. 3 times Gideon says, show me a sign. I'm too scared. I can't do it. Show me a sign. 3 times God answered. Gideon went to war with 300 people and fought off a couple 100,000 and took the city back. Real quick. Last one. Rahab. Story of Rahab. This is crazy. Rahab was a prostitute. Rahab was a whore. Listen. Rahab's family abandoned her because she was having sex for money. So Joshua sends these 2 spies. Joshua is now ruling Israel. Sends 2 spies and says, I need you to go to Jericho, right across the Jordan River. And I need you to go, make sure this land is good so we can take it away. So they stop at Rahab's house. Rahab hides these 2 spies. She hides God's people. God's people end up, these two spies are covered, they're protected. And they come back, they go back home, they get safe. Rahab makes a promise with the two spies, says, hey, if I've guarded y'all, I've protected y'all, now I need y'all to spare my family's life. When y'all come back and take this land over, I need y'all to do that for me. They're like, perfect. So because Rahab's heart was on God, even though she was a whore, even though she was a prostitute, she still loved God and feared God. The Israelites came, took the land over. Everybody was taken over besides Rahab, besides the prostitute. Imagine that. God uses a prostitute to protect his people. It's not about what you do. It's not about what you've done. It's about what's been done for you. Okay? Last one. Paul. Paul wrote about 2/3 of the New Testament. Before Paul was Paul, he was Saul. Saul murdered Christians. Murdered Christians. Paul lived so strongly by the law, he was 18 inches away from heaven. So if y'all want to write this down, y'all can read it in a little bit. Philippians 3, 6 through 11. Paul says, he says, it's the priceless value of knowing Christ. It's not about the law, but about the faith. Paul says, I thought these things were valuable, but now I consider them worthless because of what Christ has done. Paul gave his old ways up. He said, that's not me, that's not God. He gave his old ways up and began to walk by faith, not by the law. See, Paul was also 18 inches away from heaven. Paul knew everything up here, but he didn't have Jesus here. See, don't let your past steal your present. Y'all stay with me. I'm almost done. Stay with me. Don't let your past steal your present. Don't let what you've done, where you've been, who you've been, steal your present and what God can do for you right now. God wants to use you. God can use you, and God will use you. See, don't let your past steal your present. Don't let what you've done, who you've been, where you've been, steal your present. The free gift that God has given us through His Son dying on the cross. It says, God gave us a free gift. It says, Jesus personally carried our sins to the cross. For His wounds healed ours. Because He died on the cross, when we accept that free gift, see, God gave this to us, and He has set it on our doorstep, and He is reaching down saying, hey, take this gift. It's not about what you've done. I know what you've done. It's about what I've done for you. It's about by you giving your heart to me and letting me use you. I can use you and I will use you. How many of y'all got an iPhone? Last thing, how many of y'all got an iPhone? Woo, iPhone. iOS 7 update. Anybody got that iOS 7 update? Awesome, awesome. I got it too. See, check me out. Y'all check me out. Stay with me. When we have this update, when everybody, we're looking around, we know the update's coming. How many of y'all were looking around, all your friends had it, but you didn't have it? Y'all like, why? I ain't got it yet. Y'all kept checking, refreshing your phone like it's going to come. It doesn't come. You kept coming up empty. You kept coming up like you were missing something. Everybody else had the new themes. They had the new features. They were happy. They were fulfilled. But you weren't. See, the way that you felt when you look around and you don't have that, that's how God feels when we don't accept His free gift. He's like, He's jealous. He's upset. He's like, man, it's right there on their doorstep. Just open your door and open your present. I'm not worried about your past. I'm worried about the now. Take this gift I'm trying to give you and open it. See, but when you look around, you're coming up empty because you don't have that. That's how it is without Christ. We keep looking around and we keep checking for this update, but we don't have it. We don't have the update. We're like, man, why can't I have the update? But when we receive Christ, we have the update. See, it's the same phone, It's the old phone, but it's brand new because of the update. When we receive Christ, it's the same you, but you're brand new. See, Galatians 2:20 says, my old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God who loved me enough to give himself for me. See, he died for you. Listen to me. He died for you. He died so you could be made brand new. 2 Corinthians 5:15 says, he died for everyone so that those who receive his new life will no longer live for themselves. Instead, they will live for Christ. 17 says, this means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone. The new life has begun. It's the same phone. It's the same phone, but it's brand new. You now have the new features. You have the new themes. You have eternity. You have God's love, his everlasting love forever. If you need that update right now, if you want that update right now, if you can feel God knocking at the door of your heart, I need everybody to bow your heads and close your eyes right now. Everybody. Nobody's looking.